Hi, this is your 5.5 Ready, Set, Go answer key. In your Ready, it says for each inequality to graph and pick a point to use it to determine which half should be shaded. So we have an inequality here. Y is less than or equal to, that equal to is Y, it is a solid line, 1/5 of an x minus 4. So that minus 4 told us that we're going to start at the origin and we're going to go down 4. There's a point. And then the 1/5, that's why it went 1 up 1 and over 5. It also went down 1 and backwards 5, and that's what created this line. Now, if it was y equals, then it would just be this line. But we also want to represent everything that is less than. And the way we do that is we plug in the origin into the equation, which is 0 for x and 0 for y. If once we plug it in, the equation is true, we shade towards the origin. If when we plug in the origin, it is not true, we shade away from the origin. So, for example, I'm going to take the ordered pair 0, 0, and I'm going to plug 0 in for x and 0 in for y. So it's going to look something like this. 0 is less than or equal to 1/5 times 0 minus 4. Okay, so I've plugged in x is 0 and y is 0. Now 1/5 times 0 is 0, so this is gone. So I'm left with 0 is less than -4. Well, that's not a true statement. -4 is less than 0. Since we said it is not a true statement, we are going to shade away from the origin. So since the origin is here, that's what we plugged in, we are going to shade everything away from that because 0, 0 does not satisfy the equation. Okay. Over to this one, it's in slope-intercept form. Y is greater than -3x plus 5. That's why it started at the 5. It's going to go down 3 for every 1. So it goes down 3 and over 1. And it is a solid line because of that equal sign. Once again, we're going to plug in 0, 0. X is 0 and y is 0. So I'm going to plug 0 in here and 0 in here and rewrite that equation. I have 0 is greater than or equal to -3 times 0 plus 5. Well, order of operations says we do this first. -3 times 0 is 0. So I'm left with 0 is greater than 5. Well, that is not true. And since the origin is here, we are going to shade away from the origin. We are going to shade, if it is a not true statement, then we are not going to shade the point that we just plugged in. Okay, we're going to shade away from it. Okay, down to here. This one is in standard form. Notice my x and my y's are on the same side. But we're still going to do the same thing. We're just looking for equations that make this true. And so we're going to plug in the ordered pair 0, 0. I'm going to plug 0 in here. 5 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. And 0 plus 0 is 0. So is 0 less than or equal to 10? Yes, that's a true statement. So since this is my origin, that's what I plugged in. We are going to shade towards the origin because that was a true statement. It was a yes statement. Okay. Last but not least, we're going to plug 0 and 0. So I have 3 times 0 is 0, 4 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 0 is 0. Is 0 greater than or equal to 24? That is a no statement. So since this is the origin, we are going to shade away from the origin because we said no, that is a not true statement. Okay. Going over to our set, it says use the graph to write an inequality that represents the shaded region. All right, so we're going to have to look at a few things. First, I'm going to put it in y equals mx plus b form. And then afterwards, I'm going to go through and I'm going to change this to the inequality for the shaded region. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, where does it start? It starts at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to plug 7 in for the beginning. I notice it's going down 1 for every 1. And so I'm going to change this to a -1 for my m. So I'm going to rewrite this as y is equal to -1x plus 7. Okay. Now I'm going to say, here's the origin. It's shaded towards the origin, so I need to make a true statement. So I'm going to plug 0, 0 in. 0 equals -1 times 0 plus 7. Okay, so -1 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 7 is 7. So I have 0 equals 7. Well, that's not true, but remember I said we were going to go back and change this. 7 is greater than 0. So my inequality is going to face this direction. And it is a solid line. And so we're going to rewrite this equation as y, instead of being equal to, it is now going to face this direction, is less than or equal to negative 1x plus 7. So it's exactly the same as writing it with an equation, except for now we're plugging in the origin to see which direction it needs to face. Okay, let's try that again. Remember, we're going to start with y equals mx plus b. First thing we're going to find is our beginning amount. So from the origin, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's a negative 4 start. And the slope, the m, is going to go up 2 for every 1. So I can represent that as 2 over 1 or just 2. All right, now if this was just a line, then we would be done. But since it's an inequality, we are going to plug in the origin. And since this side is shaded, we need to make it be a true statement. So I'm going to rewrite this with 0 for my y and 0 for my x. 2 times 0 is 0. So I have 0 equals negative 4. Now I need to make this a true statement. So is 0 greater than negative 4 or is 0 less than negative 4? Where 0 is greater than. So my inequality needs to face towards the 0 when I plug it back in. So I'm going to rewrite this as y. My inequality is facing this direction. And 2x minus 4. Now, since this is a dotted line, this is not going to be an equal to. It's just going to be a greater than sign. Okay, we're going to do it again. This time, we're going to put it in y, same exact thing. Our beginning amount looks like it is at 10, positive 10. And it looks like, I can't tell how much it's going up, so I'm just going to find the slope from over here. I need 2 points, up to and over 1. Looks like the slope triangle. So this is going to be a 2 for every 1, or just a 2x. The origin is being shaded toward, so I'm going to plug the origin in. These two cancel each other out, so I have 0 equals 10. And now I want to, since it's shaded towards the origin, I want to make this a true statement. And so I'm going to say 0 is less than 10. So my inequality is going to face that direction. So I'm going to go back up to the inequality I wrote, but instead of an equal sign, I'm going to plug in the inequality. So my new equation is y is less than 2x plus 10. Okay, last one. Still going to be in y equals mx plus b form. We're going to start at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So down here in the b, the beginning is 5, positive 5. Looks like it's going up 1 and over 3. So our slope is, our slope is 1 for every 3 x's. Now this is a solid line, so that means it will have the equal, but it also represents everything above. So I'm still going to plug in the origin, except for this time I want to make it a no statement. I don't want it to shade towards the origin. So I'm going to plug 0 in for y, 0 in for the x. These two cancel each other out, so I have 0 equals 5. And I want to make this a false statement. So I'm going to turn it into 0 is greater than 5. And the reason I want it to be a false statement is because I want this to not be true, because I'm shading. I want everything up here. So since I did this, I go back up to my original equation, and I'm going to rewrite it as y. I'm going to plug it in this direction, but it's a solid line, so it's also going to be equal to 1/3 x plus 5. There we go. And then coming over to here, it says that we are going to represent, for each relationship, you are going to provide a context, an equation, a graph, and they gave us our table. So you're going to have to make a scale. I did this ahead of time so you could see what I did. I did a scale of 4s for my y, and I did a scale of skip 1 for every 1 for my x, and then I graphed 1, 8, 2, 16, 3, 24, and if I connected those dots, sorry, they're not dots, those points, I noticed that it would start at the origin, or it would cross the y. The y-intercept would be 0, and it would go up 8 for every 1. Up, I can see it here, up 8 for every 1. If I worked backwards, my 0 term would be 0. My equation is y equals 8x plus 0. And I created a context as I earn $8 per hour. Okay, down to this one, you'll notice that I skipped 1 and then did 9, skipped 1, 18, skipped 1, 27. I can choose any scale I want as long as it's consistent. I can't skip 1 and say 9 and then do the next one and be 18. It has to be consistent scale. Here, I skipped 1, 1, skipped 1, 2. I graphed. You'll notice that it changes. They gave me the context. Charlie earns $8 per week. So this right here is going to be weeks. And this is going to be money. It's earning, $9 each week. So this is weeks. This is money. Okay, my equation is going to be y equals 9x plus 0. All right, so here's my table. Here's my graph. Here's my equation. Hope this helps. Have a great day.